I'm Joshua Hayward, and thanks for joining me for life readings this week in the Stars and Cards. And let me extend an invitation to you to join me each week as I explore all the possibilities and the challenges and the opportunities for inward growth and outward effectiveness. And this is brought to you by Breath of Life School in Yellow Springs, Ohio, and many blessings. Enjoy. Isn't it curious how we receive so many mixed messages? And it happens all the time. And we don't really know what to think half the time. It's challenging. We receive mixed messages, and we also put out mixed messages. We know that that's happening. We know that it's not quite right somehow, because it definitely hinders us from clarity in our lives. Clarity to really make good, positive, creative choices. And even though we suffer, we just feel like, this is kind of the way it is. And so this is the week of September 11th is today, right now, as I'm recording this. And so this is the week of September 12th, where it begins there. And I wanted to use that mixed messages as a theme for this week. All right, so let's go into for instances. And so we're told as children, as we're, looking to grow and to find our place in the world, and we're told we can be anything that we want to be. We're told that we can do anything if we just apply ourselves, And then, okay, so we take that in, and as a viewer right now, think about this for yourself, how it happened to you. You take that in, and then you begin to see, I'd like to do this. I've got these dreams, I want to do this or that, And of course, it's coming from, you could grow up to be president, you could do anything you want. And so then when we tell our parents, or we tell our friends, or even tell ourselves, here's what my dream is, then we're told to, wait a minute now, maybe you need to be a little bit more realistic. And that, that you've heard the story, right? So maybe you had a dream that you wanted to be an artist, and perhaps you had some really more materially oriented parents, and they said to you, how are you going to make money at that? That's not something, it seems like you got some talent, but that's not really, okay, that's just one example. Another example of a mixed message, and this is a powerful one, is that the media portrays sexuality as this easygoing thing. And isn't this dramatic? It's glamorous, but then when we go to be sexual beings in our lives, we find out how repressed people are in society around that whole thing. And so this is really very confusing. All right. With that as a kind of a theme for the week, the south node of the moon, astrologically speaking, here is in Sagittarius, the north node of the moon in Gemini. All right, what is that about? Well, the south node of the moon has to do with where we've been and what we're dealing with, of working with that energy and trying to deal with that as we move forward. And so Sagittarius, I would just cut to the chase. The shadow side of Sagittarius, that we're dealing with right now is ideology, and you can see the polarization in so much of the mixed messages that we're getting these days in this postmodern times that we're living in right now. Is the ideology is pitting us against one another and pitting us against ourselves even. So the North Node, though, being in Gemini, is sorting that out. Gemini likes to sort. It likes to learn. Likes to learn things. It likes to communicate. It wants a clearer message. You know, and the twins have a hard time anyway because there's two of them with Gemini. You know, but the purity of Gemini, of just sorting, that's what we want. If you're told not to sort, and that this is absolutely terribly wrong, then that sets you into a place where you can't really use your mind properly. There's a psychological sort of inert kind of thing, psychologically, limited, right? So trying to move forward with that Gemini energy, you know, to where we can make, and Gemini does have to do with choices, this and that, right? Saturn right now is in a nice relationship between the South Node and the North Node, and it's in the sign of Aquarius. It's getting ready to station on the United States' South Node, which is a separate issue. But that means that we're dealing with karma of the past right now, and we're trying to figure out how to get a new structure. Well, let's take that into our own lives. And that relationship to where the North Node and South Node are now comes into play this week in a kind of a cool way, because if we can get out of those mixed messages and become clear, we can really assert ourselves. So if you're watching this, think about your own individual life right now and what you can do in order to be more self-determinate. Of course, with the help of Christ consciousness, with the help of spirit, because we really need soul identification of who we are as we make our choices, not just egoic identification. That could be part of what we're doing right now this week, is to get more in touch with what our souls really want. So if that feels good to you right now as you're watching this, just go ahead and ask your soul to begin to align. And I'm going to draw some cards right now that will kind of support the conscious growth that you might need in order to really be much more clear about who you are, so that you can get into that sync with the universe. And if you've been watching the last 2 or 3 weeks, you can see how they bring us to this moment. Similar messages, but here we are in this moment. Remember, next month, and then moving on into the holidays, it's going to be massive change. And a lot of it might not be pretty. So this is a really good time, especially this week, to get into some kind of alignment. So here we go. Without further ado, we're going to pull some cards. And the first card is the Knight of Cups. And no matter how you identify with your gender, this is a masculine type of energy. Who you can see some light at the top, but there's kind of some intense darkness in the center here, because this is an emotionally passionate energy of this person that runs on this emotional passion to be in aligned with what really feels good. And sometimes when that that darker side of this card of the Knight of Cups can be a little bit dysfunctional or codependent because it's reaching out emotionally. So see what's happening with this, knowing that you really want to be in alignment with loving your life. Second card is going to be, and if you do this, you paying attention to those emotions and those things that are driving you, that set the intention for success with your heart and bringing into, this is the Six of Discs, which is an earth card, so it's really very connected with practicality. It's what's going to be successful, with your boots on the ground, walking forward, okay? So that's what is possible if you're really looking here. And this is the desire to be practically inspired and taking on those inspired actions and moving forward successfully. The next card, and this is the card where we always get into one of the difficult cards, that what's driving us? And the Nine of Swords, the Nine of the mind, and ideas, and you can see the blood dripping off of the swords here. So this is called cruelty, and so we're kind of in that cruel situation in many ways. With we're having to deal with, even if you're trying to be more neutral, you can see the people around you are feeling this way or that way, especially around the vaccine and about masks and all the politicization of COVID-19. That is really in the whole, the political situation. It takes a toll on us. And even if you're not ideologically driven so much yourself, all people around you are acting like that, and this is a painful thing. So we're wanting to successfully move into a place that's not, living here in this type of frequency, which is definitely painful. And what to do to begin to clarify that? That's that kind of warning card that says, here's what that mixed messages and the confusion around that, this is where that can lead us, and is indeed leading us. So the next card is your spirit, the priestess. All right, and so you're looking to the priestess as guidance this week very strongly, not the mind, allowing the Holy Spirit, if you will, to lead us into that Christ consciousness that knows that we're whole, that knows that we're one with all things, underneath all of this polarity. Let Spirit pull you together with you, okay? And what will that maybe lead to? And so the next card is the Four of Swords, which means maybe with other people, maybe with yourself, but even the people who are polarizing, even if you're not, or maybe if you are polarizing too, you can see that you're living in anger, you're living in pain, you're living in that frequency of victimization, okay? And nobody's victimizing you. I want to tell you that. You're not a victim of anything, except perhaps your own ego. And so the truce or negotiations, agreements, let people have their beliefs and move forward with your own energy of kindness and love, okay? So there we have 5 cards, and the last card is, if you do that, then this is the Chariot, so then you're on that journey. You're on that journey of love. And Cancer rules this card too, as much as it does the Knight of Cups. This is a very Cancerian card. And this is healing from that struggle. And it's that journey into spirit with the negotiations, with the priestess energy. And I really sense a big change that's possible for all of us. And it's not even all that psychic to understand that in October 4 planets are changing direction. And then we move in and even more in November and December. We've got eclipses coming up. And finally, Uranus stationing once again in January. So we're looking at a lot coming up, and so we want to be on this journey in a very mindful, mindful in the sense that the mind is paying attention to spirit. So let this be a journeyful week into, out of the limitations of mixed messages and into a clear message that really empowers you, trying to make peace with this polarization, coming into your heart, coming into Christ consciousness. So many blessings. This is Joshua Hayward saying, in addition, seek the divine in all things. I would say that every week, but on that journey this week, be blessed with that.